Getting ready to take out the Redcat Gen 8 Jeep Comanche for a trial run out on the adventure course. We got my brother's K5 Blazer Ascender sitting right behind it here just for a little backup vehicle, just so we got a comparison. Looking at the course right now, everyone, trying to figure out which one I want to run on. I've got a course over here on the right hand side and another course over here on the left hand side, which both intersect each other. So I think right now, everyone, we're going to start over here on the left hand side with the original course, since it's more of a proving grounds, and then maybe spin out another video out on our other course up the hill there. Added a few more lights to the truck last night. 4 lights in the bumper. Checking out some ground clearance here on our first hill. Definitely making use of all that ground clearance in the center. Blazer Ascender creeping up behind us here. Alright, coming around to our first real major obstacle here, coming up to the water pond. Our little frog pond, as we call it. Gonna try to take our toughest way in. Once again, brand new tires, brand new truck, nothing's been tested. Definitely using all of our chassis clearance here. We got our chassis snagged on the top of that rock, which is kind of expected. Nobody really walks over that rock, which is kind of why I took it there first. One of those obstacles that's murder with any vehicle. And no problem after we went around the side a little bit. We got the Blazer Ascender creeping right up behind, keeping up with no problems at all so far. Gotta love those Ascenders, they are great vehicles. Really too bad the Vetera started discontinuing the whole Ascender line. It's a real disappointment there. One of my favorite trucks. So if you're looking for an Ascender, you might want to jump on it quick before they all disappear. And we are looking like we might tip. We got that front tire pretty high in the air over there. Definitely have some weird angles coming out of this pond. What you're doing is pretty good so far. Just getting started. Did do some trimming on the fenders the other night there to clear our tires. Had to take out quite a bit of plastic off of the fenders. Alright, coming off of our first obstacle here, past the frog pond and going around our over-under log bridge. Got this thing on a full turn to the left, using every bit of that 47-degree turning radius. Around into the tunnel here. Coming out of the tunnel, heading over to our next obstacle, which is the big log pile. Once again, never really looks like much of an obstacle, but this one can be very tough. Pretty strong angle coming up that log pile, as we can see looking at the bumper of the truck. Our overall height as we come into it. Putting those canyon trails to work today, some wet canyon trails on some wet logs. We did get a whole bunch of rain last night, everyone, which really flooded out the course. So we're kind of debating on whether even to do a video or not today, just because of all the saturation that we had out here from the massive amounts of rain. But my niece is itching to get her truck out, so we figured we'd get a run on it. Blazer Ascender coming up to the logs here. He's taking the easy path on the far left. He's running a set of Proline 1.9 Hyrax tires. And that Blazer Ascender has also been highly modified. Front bumper has been raised up and tucked in. Rear bumper has been raised up and tucked in. All kinds of plastic removed from the Lexan just to aid in approach and departure angles. So not exactly your standard K5 Blazer either as far as things go with body and bumper heights and approach and departure angles. All the bumper mounts were custom made, not available for purchase. Continuing on here, I got my niece behind me chomping at the bit to drive her new vehicle. She is currently in control of the Blazer Ascender behind us as we drive through this gnarly brick section here. Not so gnarly at the moment. Once again, all kinds of rain last night and a lot of this was filled in. Blazer making its way through with no problems. Going into our first real rock section here, other than the rock pond. Trying to aim this thing over some of the most difficult obstacles, trying not to tip it over at the same time. Since we raised it up in the air, she is definitely sitting quite a bit higher in the air. I'm trying to get as much sag out of the suspension as I possibly can. I'd rather run full sag than a full lift. And that is a tough rock. It's a tough rock to just climb up and over right there. Still poised on top of our rock here, give you an idea of the size of that overall rock. Try to pick a nice, gentle direction off the top of this rock. Once again, without rolling the vehicle over. Rollovers happen. Definitely not a stranger to those here on the channel. Just a brand new rig here, so we're trying to take it easy on our first run as far as rollovers are concerned. Oh, and I think we're turtled. Let's see if we can work our way off it. We might have to do a little backing up. No, we got it. Toughest part about today's little adventure, testing when everything is saturated, is going to be all our brick uphill sections. They are going to be a little bit tough. They generally get pretty gnarly when they get saturated. We have two choices with this one. We could turn to the left right here and go down this little easy log path and around up to our next brick hill, or we could run through this little gnarly tombstone section, which is followed by some tree stumps. So we're going to take it through the gnarly stuff, everyone, and head over towards these tree stumps and the tombstones. We have our Ascender taking the easy path just because the Ascender doesn't have portals, and all these little stumps and tombstone bricks can really do some damage to your vehicle. Definitely no rhyme or reason for any of these bricks. It can be very difficult to weasel your way through here. Portals or not, lifted or not, this could be a very difficult section. And we made it. And continuing on up their first real major brick hill here. Which really doesn't look all that major, everyone, but those rolling hills there where the front tires are going up and the back tires going up at the same time on different angles can get pretty slick when everything is saturated. And right now we are walking right up it with no problems. We have the Ascender coming up behind us, sporting the 1.9 Hyraxes. And he is a little tire chatter, but he's walking up it as well. Rolling back down the next face of our hill. Try to go down nice and slow on this one. Good for getting a tire in the air right there. Some pretty strong off cameras. I know they don't show up too well on camera, but there are some definite wicked off cameras coming down those hills with the bricks on different angles. Now this next brick hill really doesn't look like much, everyone. It's not that tall. It's about a 2.5 foot climb going up. But once again, the angles that are on here are pretty extreme. It doesn't look like much from where we're sitting, but it gets pretty vertical in a couple of places. So this can be a tough little climb right here. But when those bricks get saturated, this turns into a real nightmare. Especially with brand new tires. Oh, we made it up that portion. Going on to the real steep section here. We had dry tires and the brick was dry, everyone. We'd be walking right up this. But we're just going to kind of get our front tire off to the side and hook onto that angle, on that little edge, so we can find some traction over here. Definitely hear those tires trying to get traction. Brand new tires, brand new foams, brand new vehicle for the most part here. And we are sliding off the hill. Oh, that is bad right there. And looks like we're going to have to back down and get a whole new run at this, everyone. Alright, still trying to get up this hill here, everyone. Has nothing to do with the truck or the tires so much as it does with the bricks being saturated. Pretty much all the vehicles are going to have a hard time right here. Once again, the way this is set up, where your back tires are rolling over a hill and your front tires are trying to go up a hill at the same time. Two different angles. Get this on a roll. There we go. One way to do it. We round the corner. Come up to our next set of obstacles here. And we will wait on the Blazer. We'll see how the Blazer Ascender does with the Hyrax tires on it. Stock suspension on the Blazer.
It's a tough hill, everyone. A very tough hill indeed. Once again, it doesn't look tough, but the way those bricks roll, it'll definitely hold you back. 1.9 Hyraxes. Supposed to be really good on wet rock. This is wet brick. Not doing so good. I think we're just going to back up and give the Ascender a tow with the old Redcat Gen 8 here.
Bungee all hooked up here and give this Ascender a hand. Not that it's the truck's problem, has nothing to do with the truck. Once again, tires and wet brick. We got our Ascender up the hill, making our way into the staggered brick section here. Some very uneven ground. Toughest part here, everyone, is just keeping your vehicle on that line. There's actually 2 lines of brick that go through here with rocks glued to the surface of them. This is the line that we're trying to stay on. without getting off of the bricks. And continuing along into the next rocky section here, we did add onto this section recently, so this has grown since the last time it was seen on camera. Once again, trying to pick the gnarliest of courses to drive through, just for testing our suspension and articulation on the vehicle. Throwing our lights for a little definition there as we roll into some of this stuff. Little symphony of servos. The Savoc Symphony. Making use of our extreme approach angles there, with the bumper being raised up and pushed in as far back as it would go. Once again, these are areas on my course where you need that. We're now turning into a brand new section of the course right up here, new rock section. Blazer Ascender making his way through. Once again, nothing bad to say about the Ascenders. Absolutely love those trucks. Once again, all brand new course here that we're driving on currently. Testing out that articulation back there with those 110mm King off-road shocks. Right now we're just kind of hanging off the back edge of this rock. And here's what we were looking at, hanging over the back edge of that rock. Like I said, everyone, I'm going to back up and do a little readjusting here on this rock. This is a tough one. Trying to keep it up on top of this rock and work these weird angles, as well as not rolling over on our way back down, since everything is pitching downhill. It's all pitching to the driver's side. Quite a bit, actually. See here, we are definitely rolling off to that side a little bit there. Try to do some recorrecting before we come off the edge. Hopefully we're not going for a rollover here, everyone. Trying to position my front tires very carefully here. On up to the log bridge. Heading out of that new rock section, you can see our Blazer sitting on some crazy angles back there. Well, not too crazy, but she's definitely articulated out one way to the other. Tough obstacle, everyone, when the logs are saturated. They are old logs and they are no bark on them. So when they get wet and saturated, they get pretty darn smooth. Not really any real easy defined way up this bridge, other than to stick to the sides. If you stick to the left or to the right, it's definitely a lot easier than going straight up the middle. Our Ascender making the run for it. Mainly stock Ascender, everyone. The only real upgrades I would suggest with an Ascender is swapping out the stock 14-tooth pinion gear for a 12-tooth pinion gear. 48-pitch gears. Crossing our bridge here, we do have that's an intersection going off to our other course, which goes up the hill. And we are still running on the original course here, which once again is more of a proving grounds. The new course, the second course going up the hill, is more of a trail than a proving grounds. And it's quite a bit longer than the original course as well. Pretty good drop right there, that first initial descent, which can be interesting for trying to climb back up, making it up over that last little ridge at the top. We're We're still continuing along with our original course here. If we were on the new course, we would be branching off over the wall right here. We'd drive over this wall and right down around that tree and then back up and down these rocks. That is part of the second course. Once again, still rolling on the original course, heading into this brick off-camber section up here. A lot of these garden blocks here have some serious off-cambers in them, which are great for testing out suspension twist and flex. Looking at our articulation right now on one of these off-cambers. This is a pretty major off-camber here. Usually good for getting the trail finder too. Getting one tire in the air on the TF2. Generally rolling through here. Once again, my TF2 is not exactly the average TF2 either. It flexes just about as good as this Redcat Gen 8. I'm crossing over one of the intersections there for our second course. Now if you're doing this for points, everyone, this is one spot right here that can be an equalizer no matter what kind of vehicle you have. Just a matter of keeping your vehicle on the bricks and not actually falling off of them. It can be very tough. If you're going by points, staying on the bricks is where the money's at. Once again, more off-cambers coming off of this brick as well. This is a spot that my Trail Finder 2 actually loves to roll over right here. Looks like we're handling it pretty good with the Redcat. Our center coming down the hill behind it. Now normally, this would be a big sand pit in here, everyone, but once again, after the rain, this was completely filled in with water, so we had to come in here and excavate all the water back out. You can see where all the dark spot in the brick there that was flooded over with water. This happened late last night, or else I would have been out here filming. We have a pretty deep pond right here. That truck would have been underwater at that point in time. We head into our brick over-under bridge here, or over-under brick bridge. Once again, more evidence of our last little bit of a rainstorm there, where the water had came down the hill and flooded out the bottom here. Make our approach to the brick bridge. It'll be a very tough climb once again, saturated brick. Different off-cambers as you're coming up, 2 rollers going in. The bricks are radiused, so there's not a straight line on the bricks. Hear those canyon trails trying to get traction here. And another portion about this bridge, everyone, that nobody really talks about is that it actually is pitching to the left. So the driver's side tires are sitting lower than the passenger side tires, as well as the brick being tilted to the left slightly. So your truck wants to walk downhill sideways to the left as you're trying to climb, which makes it more difficult as you're going up the hill and spinning your tires. The truck is naturally just pulling itself to the left. One more great equalizer. When you're climbing up this hill, this is one of those ones where you really want to see how much room you have on your passenger side as well, so you know how far you can cut it to the left without going over the edge. And we spin these tires enough, we might get some traction. Or we might have to roll it. There we go. A little slight roll on, and we made it to the top of the brick bridge. We'll see how those 1.9 Hyraxes do in comparison on the Ascender.
And she is having some issues as well. My 12-year-old niece operating the Ascender. My assistant. She might have to get a little bump at it too. There she goes. Oh, take it to the left and back up. Very easy once again to get off this bridge because everything is just going downhill. You can see the lean on the Ascender, not just torque twist, but also because it's leaning downhill. I she made it that far. Losing my balance here. I'll fall over. You got more room on the right there, Katie. Better aim yourself a little that way. Just back up slightly and give it a little oomph. Over the hill. There you go. Try it one more time. One more time. Same 315mm wheelbase, everyone. It's got nothing to do with suspension on this portion of it. Mainly tires. We have the 1.9 Hyraxes on the Ascender once again. And brand new set of 1.9 Traxxas Canyon Trails on the Redcat Gen 8. The Hyraxes are broken in. The foams in the tires are definitely broken in on those tires. And she is snagged. She's got her axle snagged. She's going to have to pick it up.
We got the hand of God there for the ascender going up the hill. Going up this next portion, everyone, normally we would be going up the teeter-totter there, but it is heavily saturated from all the rain that we had. You can see all the moisture in the logs. It makes it very, very impossible to climb up it, which is why we have this little cheater path going off to the side made out of rock. Cheater path isn't necessarily any easier than the teeter-totter. In all reality, the teeter-totter is easier if you can climb up it. The rocks going up here are all pitching off to the left. Every one of them is pitching off to the left, everyone, so everything is going downhill. A lot of these rocks have these funny little grooves in them right there. You get your tires in them and they just walk right downhill to the left. Same with this one right here. You get into that little groove right there and it's almost impossible to climb up. So this little cheater path isn't necessarily the easier path. The teeter-totter is definitely the fastest and easiest way to go. Just for the sake of posterity here, we'll take a stab at the teeter-totter just to let you know what this thing gets like when it's totally saturated. Right here at the bottom, it's just about impossible to get any kind of traction to get up. And it's pretty much that over and over again. So we're not going to go that route, everyone. We're going to run it right up the cheater path here. Which once again is not easier by any means. Pockets right there, one of the pockets that holds your tire. And we're falling off the pile, falling off the trail. Say falling off the pile, falling off the pile of rocks there. Go, working that articulation over that last rock. Waiting for our sender to catch up here. She's going to be following the same line. Giving those high racks a workout. They are grabbing pretty good on the rock. She's walking up it pretty good. Has her rock slider snagged on that rock, but she made it around. Piece of cake for the stock ascender. Continuing along up our rock path, our cheater path. Definitely getting some good articulation out of it right there, everyone. Our front tire and our back tire. Making use out of that fender trim. Oh, we're keeling over pretty good here. Hoping I can get some traction here. There we go. Once again, I'm working at articulation for sure, using every bit of those 110mm shocks as we work our way through those rocks. Not that you need 110mm to get through there. That K5 Blazer Ascender can make it through there just as easy. We are seeing right now. Here comes the ascender. Walking his way through the rock section as well. So you don't need a lifted vehicle to get through my course, depending on which way you go. There's definitely some challenging areas that you will appreciate a lifted vehicle, but it's not necessarily needed. There's other ways that you can go. Another new section out of the course right here, everyone, as we dug this corner out quite a bit down here. Which isn't that bad coming this way, but going the other way it can be a pretty good challenge making it back up that hill, depending on the soil conditions. Excuse me, everyone, I'm trying to shut off the lights there and almost drove it into the wall. section normally has some pretty good little moguls and rolling hills and varying terrain, looking rather natural. Once again, rain and track prep kind of wiped it out a little bit, so we need to let everything dry out a little bit before we come back in here and shape it back out again. Now we're heading into one of the very first obstacles on the course, everyone, and that is the rocky switchback right through here. Very first obstacle, and wasn't measured out. And it's very tight getting through here because I didn't measure anything out. I just kind of eyeballed it. I just have to say the toughest part about making this corner, everyone, or making this obstacle, was driving all of the sticks into the ground with a hammer. Each one of those sticks around the wall are a good 12 inches into the ground, if not more, so that they do offer some kind of structural support for retention. We're working our way around with the Redcat here, definitely using every bit of that 47-degree turning radius as we try to worm our way through this deadly rocky switchback. Got one tire up on the wall over there on that side. As long as we don't go off the wall, I think we're still within bounds. Oh, and we went off the wall. A little out of bounds there, but we recovered okay, thanks to all that articulation. Able to make that stretch without a problem. Continuing our way along through the path. And heading under our brick bridge here, I see we have a little roll over there with the Ascender. Oh, she is on her roof. There she is. Gently, kid. Your daddy's truck. Alright, roll them out of our brick bridge here and on up the rocky path. Heading up Raptor Rock here, everyone. Looks like it's got a big old dinosaur claw mark on it right there in front of the truck. A lot of traction to be had on this rock, as you can hear. Now, if we were driving on the new course, everyone, we'd be making a hard left up this hill, and then we'd run up this rocky path on along and into the woods. But we are currently still on the old course. So our Blazer is still trying to make it out from underneath the over-under rock bridge there. Use your tires, kid. Do a little spin and go to the left here. Come towards me. Keep coming. Keep coming. Cut back. Come back towards me. Keep coming. Keep coming. Cut back. There you go. There you go. Nice job. Everything's not as easy as it appears, everyone. The course is definitely challenging, no matter how it looks on camera. Our Redcat Gen 8 Jeep Comanche made it through without a problem. Our Scout getting a little hung up here. Our Blazer getting a little hung up here. Oh, you're getting close to the edge, kid. You might want to back up. You're going to come off the trail. Oh, and you are off the trail. You might as well come forward. Illegal move. Alright, continuing our way along up the log path here. Doesn't seem like much, but you can get snagged on a booger in here very easily. Easy to get stuck on some of these logs, everyone. Nothing to do with ground clearance or suspension or articulation, just a matter of traction at this point in time. And we are through. Center coming up behind us. Canyon Trails clawing their way to the top of that hill. I don't think the Ascender is going to be able to do that. Ascender taking a crack at that hill there with the Hyraxes. Oh, and he walks right up without a problem. Way back towards the podium here, everyone. Last couple little hills before we get there. We do have more obstacles coming to this section that we just drove through as well. Just haven't installed them as of yet. Rolling over our last hill. Back to the podium. It was a first run with our Redcat Gen 8 Jeep Comanche. Just testing it out there. Once again, we do have a full set of rock lights on this truck as well, hidden up underneath there. Their little on-off switch, which is also hidden. There we go. So she does have a full set of rock lights as well for when it really gets dark. But that is going to do it for right now, everyone. Very much appreciated once again for y'all sticking around and watching the video, and we will see you all on the next one.